Zoom.
This
So
meeting is being recorded.
fantastic. Now I can use this on YouTube. So for those who didn't know, this will be on YouTube later. But apologies there, Courtney. Let's get back into it. So what's your like in terms of a professional athlete? What's your like general diet? What's your relationship with food? You mentioned like porridge and a coffee is pretty standard if it's cold. Is that what you're having most training mornings as well?
Um, yeah, or a porridge or smoothie. I sometimes struggle a bit to eat with the early morning sessions. So we actually had a meeting with our dietitian the other week, and she convinced us all to do a few smoothies prior to training, which obviously doesn't sit well when it's cold here.
No.
But that yeah, usually porridge or a smoothie is something that I would usually go to if I got an early morning session.
Now, are you a meal prepper? What about for dinner?
Or you know what, I used to be, and then I moved out of home. I think my housemate was a really good example and influence on me. But now that I own my own place and live by myself, I'm very much what do I feel like on the day, and then I'll go to the shops and buy something, which is probably bad because I think I waste more money.
Mate, so you're going to the shops every day.
Or not every day, probably like every second day. But also, we haven't been home very much.
Yeah,
so
fair.
it's like, how do I do a full fridge, or do I just do a few little shops here and there?
Well, I guess that's hard, especially given, like you mentioned, the COVID situation that's been happening across the league. Like, you might have to get out and you don't want to, I mean, food's expensive these days. You don't want to have meat going off.
Exactly. So I'm saving money, really.
That's it. Exactly right. Okay. So bit of your backstory from, the thorough research I've conducted. Your first year with the Orioles was back in 2010. 11 seasons later, you're only 27 now, and you're currently the longest serving captain of the West Coast Fever, this being your fourth season. And in two of the last three seasons, you've made the grand final. Now, this year, it seems like you're on track to win that elusive premiership, which will wrap everything up nicely for you. Is that the plan?
That would be the plan. That makes me feel really old. And Sunday has actually been calling me quite old the last couple of weeks. So it's really hitting home right now. But yeah, to finish up and to finish this year on a premiership would be pretty special. I have been around for a long time now.
So, and I did actually watch a video on the Fever website mentioning your first 4 or 5 years that you were kind of coming off the bench and you hadn't really cemented yourself. What was your headspace like at that time, and what kind of changed for you to, like, did something click? Like you weren't working hard enough at training, or what finally clicked for you?
Oh yeah, I think I was just really immature and young when I was signed. I was 16, I was in year 12. So I think the first couple of years, I probably didn't know what it really meant to be like an elite high performance athlete. So probably understandable why I was sitting on the bench. And then, yeah, I got to about the 2:15 off season, and I sat down with Stace Rosman-Marinkovic now and said, what do I need to do? I was kind of sick of sitting on the bench. I wanted an opportunity more than, 5 or 10 minutes here and there. And yeah, we just hit the training track really hard. I got a lot fitter and stronger, and worked on some really specific things that she wanted me that I needed to tick off to be able to play full games.
So how long into the 2016 season did you feel like you had cemented yourself and you were an elite athlete?
Oh, probably not till like midway through. I think obviously I was getting a few more starts and more opportunities, but I think that's the nature of sport. You never know if your spot is cemented. You always got someone nipping at your heels ready to come on if you're not performing. So I think that pressure or added some extra energy into me to want to stay out there a bit longer.
So you mentioned before that Sunday has been making you feel old and getting into you. How are you surprised how, not easily, because I'm sure it hasn't been easy for her, but how well she's adapted to SSN?
Yeah, I think SSN's done such a great job now of having training partners. So Sunday was in our program for the last 2-3 years. So training with us pretty much full time anyway. So when she's had to make that step up, I think it's been so much easier for her. And I think that's like obviously a great thing that the league's done, because it makes that gap a lot smaller.
Do you like the idea of going to 12 in a squad over 10 for that reason, to expose more players at the level?
Yeah, I think to have the 12 players was great last year. We obviously had more depth on our bench, and I think every state has some phenomenal players in training partners that are just sitting there waiting for their opportunity. So I'm all for it if it gives some girls some opportunity to get out there. We have 4 phenomenal training partners here, and all of them deserve to be out on the court. So I'm all for 12 if it gives them opportunity.
So what do you think it is about Sunday that has made her able to kind of fit in seamlessly in the circle with you?
Oh, she listens to me really well.
Right, okay. That's good.
She's just really elusive, and I think that's similar to the way that I like to play. So I think we've just worked off each other extremely well. And we've had, like I said, we've had the last 2-3 years in training to practice our combination. So I think that's been it. But she also just backs herself in. She's confident out there, and she works really hard. So usually she stops the ball before it even gets to me. So that.
Well, especially because now it was you and obviously Stacey Francis Bayman generally in the circle, and now Stacey's kind of, I guess, adapted her game to be able to move out to wing defence, which has enabled Jess Anstis to then roll forward and so on and so forth. How important is it to be versatile at this level? Because you even in the Trans-Tasman Constellation Cup, you were out at goal defence. Can we see you out at goal defence for the Fever anytime soon, Courtney?
Yeah, I think that it would be one of our mix-ups. It's if we have Olivia back, we're usually pushing me out the front. I was a goal defence growing up my whole career, and then once we got to under 21s playing with like a Joey Weston and that, I was just the taller defender, so got pushed back, and Joey went out the front. So naturally a goal defence, but been pushed to the back. But I think you have to be versatile. I think that's the beauty of our Fever end is that, yeah, like you said, Stace can swing out. She can play goalkeeper if we need. Sunday can swing to the wing D. I can go out to goal D, and we've got Olivia to come on and fill both the goalkeeper and goal defence positions, which just gives us, so much variety out there.
So how do you feel like the team is going so far this year? Obviously, you haven't lost a game, right? But in terms of the way you're gelling, it seems like the games you've played, you have dropped behind in some games. The Thunderbirds got a really good start on you. But it seems no matter what situation, I guess you know how some teams don't know how to win? It seems like this year you guys don't know how to lose.
Yeah, it's a funny one. We were even talking about it yesterday after the game. I think we just feel so confident in our game plan and what Stace and the coaching staff have put together. And, we're happy to have to play goal for goal netball with teams, and then we know that our defensive setups are going to give us opportunities to score. And when we've got Janelle down there as such a huge threat, but also Alice and Sash able to come on and have an impact too. I think there's just a lot of confidence in all of us that our game plan will beat teams, and I think that's that's exciting. We just feel really calm out there. Nothing seems to be stressing us at the moment, which is exciting.
Now, as someone who's not too much of an analyst of the game, right? I love watching it, but I don't know the intricacies, right? Has your game plan changed much this year compared to last year and previous seasons with Stacey?
No, it's stayed pretty similar. We're obviously a hard defensive team. We run hard. We want to contest first ball, and then in attack, let the ball go into Janelle and set up early. So it hasn't really changed over the last couple of years. We always add some little challenge points. So we had 7 challenge points this year that we needed to work on and bring those to the games, and hopefully that would get us over the line and then into a grand final. So yeah, it hasn't changed at all really.
Do you feel like you're hitting those 7 challenge points at this, like halfway through the season?
Yeah, definitely. There's some that we still need to tick off. But yeah, some that are a bit up and down too. So I think we're getting there, and I think that's the exciting thing. We know that we're here and we've got something to work to still. So we're playing good netball, but we're not playing great netball, what we're capable of.
So you think you have another level to go to?
Yeah, definitely. I keep saying to Janelle she needs to stop missing 2 goals a game. So that's our real down point at the moment.
Yep.
Shooting at 98%. I'm just not sure if it's okay. But no, I think defensively our structures can get a bit more tighter. And obviously every team wants to turn down stop their turnovers, and we've been high in some games, and we want to start a bit better too. So I think we're doing well, but there's definitely still another level to go to.
You mentioned Janelle there, and I'm someone who, when I first, I guess, started really appreciating netball, which was 2018, the second year of SSN, I was watching Janelle and I was like, oh, she's just good because she's really tall. And now the more I watch, it's like, no, she's actually, not only does she use her body well, she comes out of the circle. I don't know if she's doing it more than she used to, but I feel like she has a lot more strings to her bow than maybe people give her credit for.
Yeah, definitely. I think she has added a lot more to her toolkit. She is on the move a bit more, but I think that's the thing. Like, it's all well and good being told, but she's got to be able to take the hit. She's always double defended, and she's able to pull these balls in like there's no tomorrow. So, yeah, I think that she's obviously a phenomenal athlete. I'm very grateful that she's on my team.
Yep.
But yeah, she is adding more. She loves to come out and set some plays up now, and she's not even afraid to take a 2-pointer. She nails them in training, and she's been nailing them in games too when she's been given the opportunity.
What's she like off the court? Because she seems quite fierce and a lot of times has a game face on and doesn't show a huge amount of emotion.
Yeah, that is true. She doesn't show much out there. Away from the court, she is such a homebody.
Okay.
She just really loves her own time. I think because obviously the time difference between here and Jamaica, she's spending a lot of time on the phone, keeping up with her daughter and her partner. So I think she really just enjoys being by herself, which is totally fine because I'm the exact same way. But she's really just the mum of the group, really.
Okay. You mentioned that you enjoy being by yourself as well. Is that so? You mentioned live by yourself. Talk me through that. Do you not like get bored, get lonely? Like, what do you do when you're at home by yourself? Are you watching Netflix? Do you have hobbies? Like, what's Courtney Bruce like off the netball court?
Yeah, look, I'm very much an introvert. I like my own time to recharge. I think when people see me on the court, I'm quite up and about and loud and energized and a bit in your face, which is quite draining. So when I like to be at home, I love to just be at home and read and watch Netflix, look after my 300 plants that are currently in my house, and just chill. I think I spend so much energy at the netball courts that when I'm at home, it's really just to recharge and be my real calm, collected self at home.
Would you say that's a true reflection of who you are?
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely a persona that I put on when I step onto the netball court. So when I'm at home, definitely, a lot more quieter, a lot more chilled. Love really good quality time with friends, not doing necessarily too much.
Do you think, did it take you a while to find that balance?
Yeah, definitely. I think I used to try and be like, oh, Courtney Bruce is always this kind of person. But, you can be two different people. Like when I step on the court, I've obviously got a job to do. And that's what I get paid to do is to perform. So that's where that kind of like Courtney Bruce netball hat comes on. And then I come home and I get to be really relaxed and calm. And I think like accepting that that's kind of who I am, that there is kind of two different people and that's all right. I think it's helped me a lot more in my performances and knowing who I am as a person.
Is that something you were learning in those first few years with the Orioles /Fever?
Yeah, definitely. I think I was just trying to be the same person, and that doesn't work. I used to always think that you had to be quite extroverted and loud and kind of all over the shop and in your face and whatnot, but you don't have to be that way. And I think that's the beauty of Fever at the moment. We're all so unique and love to do and be who we want to be, but then when we come together we get to perform. And I think in the first couple of years I was trying to be someone that I wasn't, and you're never gonna perform on the court but also be who you want to be away from the court if you're trying to be someone else.
That's a really great lesson, and it's not surprising that you are the captain of the side and you've been the captain of the side for 4 years. Do you think it was more you spending enough time in an elite environment trying to figure out who you were both on and off the court, or do you think it's literally an age thing with you personally?
Yeah, I think it was probably a bit of both. I think the older that I've gotten, the more accepting of that, we're all unique and we don't have to fit a mold to play netball. So I get to be who I want to be. but probably just also being around a lot of other high performance athletes. So learning what they do, getting to see what works for them and what doesn't work for them, and learning, and then having to put my own practices in and learning from those. So maybe a bit of both, but yeah, I think maybe the older I've gotten, the less you start to care about, I guess, a lot of trivial things in your life.
Now, there is something that's been distracting me this whole conversation, Courtney. It's the drawing, I think, of you on your fridge. Can you show that to the... Yeah. Can you talk us through this?
I got it at a game.
Oh.
2018. Just anything that the little kids give me, I usually try and keep up on my fridge. 2019, I mean.
Yeah.
I think because we haven't been able to be home much, I always like keeping things up on my fridge. So I did just get a new fridge because it's quite empty at the moment. But
I was about to say, that's a ginormous fridge.
For one person, I know, it's silly. It's a really big space, and I felt like I had to fill it. So, yeah.
What's the most?
In there.
What's the most common thing in your fridge? What's your go-to? Like, do you ever go to snack?
I love like just avocado on toast with like tomatoes or something like that. Really simple, really basic.
Are you a sweet tooth at all?
I am. I do love chocolate, but I reckon they're more savory. Like if someone was going to offer me like salt and vinegar chips, I'd probably eat those more than the chocolate.
Okay, nice. Yeah. Good to know.
Yeah.
So if anyone is house sitting for Courtney, salt and vinegar chips is the way to go.
100%. Fill my cupboard up.
Now, something that I wanted to touch on. Last year in Hub Life, you girls made the grand final against the Vixens. Now, I was reading an article that straight after the grand final, you flew home to Perth, and then you had to have a 14-day quarantine. Now, first question, was that 14-day quarantine in a hotel or at home?
Well, the girls, so a few of us stayed obviously on for Diamonds, but the rest of the girls flew home.
Yes, of course.
But 14 days, we were lucky that the WA government gave us the opportunity to do it at home if you had a reasonable place to do so. So majority of us were at home. Some girls, some of us staff had to do it at a hotel.
Now, did you stay? So you obviously stayed on for Diamonds then. You didn't fly back to Perth?
There we go.
Okay. So sorry. So you obviously stayed on for Diamonds, but the question that I did have, not knowing that you stayed on for Diamonds, was how do you think the girls were dealing with, I guess, being in the hub and away from home for so long, then having the peak of the grand final, and then literally the next day being stuck at home for 2 weeks to almost think it over and replay the game and the moments in their head over and over again?
Yeah, it was definitely really tough for the girls. I think that it was a really tough thing for them to have to go through. We definitely had talks about could we stay on a little bit longer? Would the WA government open the borders to allow us to eventually just be able to literally walk into Perth? But that wasn't to be the case. So, I think it was a really tough thing for the girls to have to go through. I think a lot of them were lucky enough they could go home to where their partners were as long as they were socially distancing and that. So they had obviously the support that they needed around them. But it's not the way that you want to have to end a season, but then have to disappear into quarantine by yourself. And we had to have quite a few obviously meetings over Zoom and that to wind things up. But definitely not the ideal situation. Whether we had won or lost, it wouldn't have made things even better.
Do you think that the grand final loss has played a part in how well you have started the first half of this season?
Yeah, potentially. I think that obviously gave us a little bit of fire in the belly. It was obviously a phenomenal game against the Vixens. I think there was like no turnovers. It was an attacker's game through and through. So I think it was obviously an amazing game to play. But I think, it gave us those like 7 points that we wanted to work on to move into this season. So I think the first couple of rounds, especially coming up against the Vixens away in round 1, there was that fire to want to get to the win for sure.
Now, Courtney, I probably wouldn't be doing my journalism degree that I got 7 years ago justice if I didn't ask you the question about the salary cap stuff, right? So we know what's gone on. We know the penalty. We know where you are on the ladder. Don't really care about that stuff. I just want to know from your perspective, when it all came out, what were you feeling as a player who was obviously oblivious to the whole thing? Then because of, I guess, an admin thing, you're brought into it. What were your feelings about it when it first came out?
Yeah, I was obviously, as so all the girls, in absolute shock, to be honest. Never thought that obviously we'd be in this position. So I think it was just, raw shock and emotion, and a lack of clarity more than anything. We obviously, like you said, know that it was an administration issue, but that's kind of all we still know as players. So I think, it was just more shock, anger, disappointment. I think I felt a lot of things.
I can imagine.
And probably thought, obviously, the 12 points was quite a harsh penalty as players for us as a playing group to have to carry on into the season. But I think, to be honest, flipped my mindset quite quickly and being like, well, okay, if it's 12 points, I'm going to play the best netball that I can play to get us over the line week in, week out. So, it's kind of like didn't dwell on it for too long, to be honest, because I guess it had happened and there was nothing. I can't change the past. I can only obviously impact the future. So making sure that, I just tried to get on with it as best as possible, really.
Is that the way that it's been handled, like internally from like a high performance player's perspective, that you obviously, I'm assuming, had meetings and discussions about it at the time? Everyone said what they needed to say and now we've all moved on. Is that, and it's not really referenced anymore? Is that how it's kind of gone down?
Exactly. Yeah, we had a few meetings with the board, a few meetings as a playing group, and then we just decided that, to be honest, we didn't want to talk about it.
Apologies for bringing it up again.
No, it's fine. We don't really talk about it yet internally at all. It is just, once we step past the 12 points after round 3, we're like, okay, like we've ticked that box off. But we haven't honestly haven't spoken about it at all. And I think that's probably helped us the most. That obviously it's an annoying situation, but there's literally nothing we can do about it. We can't change the SSN board's mind. We can't do anything about it. So we've just got to play good netball and focus on right now, which is what Stace is really good at doing, is really process driven.
It was interesting you mentioned that it was harsh from a player's point of view. I don't know if you saw the article Liz Ellis wrote last week about there being a difference between the Fever club and the team, that there's almost like the team is copping the brunt for the club, even though there was obviously the fine that was handed down. But it's kind of interesting the way that, any kind of league or sport deals with this kind of situation. And it's just really unfortunate that, from your point of view, that you had to, I guess, an innocent bystander in the first netball case. Oh, it happened to the Thunderbirds as well, didn't it? They did something, I think.
Yeah, a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on from that, Courtney. What are we watching on Netflix at the moment?
I am actually I'm watching on Stan, Bold Type and Younger.
Mate, if you ever come to Newcastle, you need to hang out with my girlfriend. That's what she's watching at the moment also. Both of them. Great,
love it. Sasha and I download it for the playing because we sometimes fly out on a Thursday. So we both watch it. We usually sit next to each other in the exit rows. We normally watch it together and then watch the next episode, and then it's like 3 hours of our plane ride done.
So with the bold type specifically, because I have watched a couple of episodes, do you relate to one character more than the other? Do you picture yourself as one of them?
I like Kat, but we actually did a survey the other week, Sash and I got Tiny Jane, and I just don't know if I'm a Tiny Jane, but I'll take it.
Okay.
Sasha didn't think it fitted me, but I think I probably more relate to Kat, but who knows? Right.
Okay. Well, for all the bold type viewers, I hope they've enjoyed that insight into who you see yourself as. So do you and Sash get exit row, and Janelle, I'm guessing? Anyone else get exit row?
Stacey Francis, Sunday, Olivia, normally. Jess Ansis has somehow managed to sneak in there. Not really sure how, because I'm pretty sure Alice is taller than both her and Olivia.
Yeah.
But, no one really complains. Normally, if you don't have an extra row, you have a spare seat next to you. So it's pretty much a win-win. So it's all right.
Right. Okay. So Verity's kind of never getting exit rows. Verity, who else?
Definitely not. She's too short. Nah, no way.
Mate, Courtney, is there anything that you'd like to share with us? I guess something that no one would know about you?
Oh, something that no one would know about me. Oh gosh. That's a really good question. I don't know. Something no one would know about me.
You got any party tricks? You got any special skills or anything?
I'm not really talented in any other way other than sometimes netball. They tried to teach us juggling. I tried to learn to juggle when we were quarantined for diamonds, but that didn't go down very well. I'm a self-confessed nerd. I think few people know that about me. I think I have a really good knack for finishing puzzles in like 2 days. I am an extreme puzzler. That can be my rant about me. That's what I did for quarantine for 14 days straight. Just went through like 10.
Okay, so your random fact was you are an extreme puzzler.
Yeah, 100% obsessed. I had to stop buying puzzles because Mum told me off.
How many puzzles would you have?
Well, Mum and I have now started doing a switch. So, like, if I finish one, she finishes one because she's a really good puzzler too. It's definitely where I got my skill from. We switch over. I think there's probably I've got 2 drawers over there, and I reckon there's probably at least 12 in there at the moment, which isn't that many, but it's still a lot. Mum and I swap.
Do you have a favorite one that you've done? Like, what was the picture on your favorite one?
Oh, you know what? Actually, a World Cup we did one, and it was a picture of all of us girls. That was pretty cool to do. That was a fun one. And it was somewhat easy, but it was fun. I don't know. I like all of them really because they're all like the pretty pictures from like all the places that I want to travel to right now because I'm obsessed with travel I can't travel to. So anything that reminds me of somewhere overseas.
Have you got like music on in the background or a candle or some incense? Or have you just literally in the zone with the puzzle, no background or outside noise?
Sometimes I'll have like a show on, which is my really bad habit is I'll have a show on in the background and I will say that I finished a series, not the Bold Type or Younger, because I'm any other series and I'm like, I finished blah, 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 but I actually have just had it on the background and I'm puzzling or I'm reading or I'm cleaning or watering my plants. Is actually a really bad habit, and I'll say to someone I finished, but I wouldn't be able to tell you what's actually happened in the series. It's a really bad habit. So
you have the TV on in the background while you're reading?
Sometimes, yeah. I think I like background noise more than anything. Sometimes when I'm doing the uni work, I'll just have something on.
What are you doing at uni? What are you studying?
I'm studying a double degree in psychology and Indigenous studies.
Wow. That is fun. Yeah. Fun. That's so cool. How long have you been studying for?
Yeah.
So what kind of...
Sorry.
That's okay. Oh my God, this again. As soon as this unfreezes. Okay. Oh no, it came back and then it stopped again.
Oh no. Oh, there we go.
Okay. Courtney, what we're going to do is, next time you're in Newcastle, in New South Wales, we're going to do this in person, or next time I'm in Perth, so the Zoom stops freezing. But until that time, Courtney, I'm going to let you go. But
I could try and do it on my phone if that helps.
Oh my God, seriously, don't stress. I've taken up way too much of your time already. I do want to thank you for your time after your game yesterday. I'm sure you've got an ice bath and recover and puzzle today. But Courtney Bruce, thank you so much for having a chat.